Yeah, the DLATMOL video isn't done, and it isn't going to be done until probably the end of March. I'll be splitting my attention between seeing how engages and editing the video. However, I don't want to leave you empty-handed, so this is the only segment I've got so far, subject to change. For sure, it is not going to be a tier list video, more of a map and chapter review. I don't want it to be a review, but I want DLATMOL to be in review. Thanks and enjoy. Chapter 14. This damn map. You see, it's a damn. Well, what's more offensive, an awful damn pun or me calling it a dyke instead? A past highlight of this chapter was Emma getting crit by a ballista, forcing me to restart after a few turns because of lost momentum. On this map, you need to arrive at a tile on the other side of the map post-haste. Between you and that objective is a status staff, a ballista, a siege tome, and a boss and a half. The enemies drop door keys to let you through the top route, but there's a blue gem and a Draco shield that I want to nick, so Ronnie's coming along. I'll be honest, with almost every other map up to this point, I felt like even the simplest of tactics was enough to get you through, and there wasn't much to stop you by way of sheer random chance. This map is different. Sure, I was lucky this time to dodge all 3 sleep staves, and I took the restore staff up there in case it did hit, but what if I critically needed to heal a unit at the same time because of some unlucky hits? It'd slow me down, possibly too much, and I'd have to start over. And so, after a few turns of shaky RNG dependence and 9 turns total of some actually pretty tame pushing and flank guarding, Durga will show up. You now have a harsh time limit, roughly 11 more turns by my reckoning, to not only do your objective, but stop her from reaching a specific fort tile. You can, if you're desperate, park someone on that fort tile and pray Durga can't one-round them. Fat fucking chance, given her bases and sword stat bonus, she's got the stats to tangle with the final boss favourably. Despite my need for haste, I stack up around the 2 fort tiles as I had a memory in the back of my head of dudes spawning all of a sudden once that threshold was crossed. Still, it has to be done, especially with those wyverns bearing down, and apparently my memory is faulty. Nevertheless, there was something that was bullshit after the forts, and it's that fucking armor knight with silvers. That's a dead Dale, by all accounts, even if he wasn't at base defense. I'd say a Lance Reaver would have been a safer bet, or maybe dancing up and killing the armor knight with an effective weapon. Either way, seems quite RNG dependent to me, though I'll admit to making a few mistakes, like not blocking Dale off with Francine. To further complicate matters, our haste must now be measured against trying to recruit Whitney. She'll reach us before Durga, no doubt about that, but it seems to me much better to just secure victory and then deal with the side objective. And of course I was right about enemy reinforcements spawning in the open field. That's an illegal move. Push past the boss, use a bit of dark magic against the armor knights, get Dale angry enough about a 37% hit to crit for the first time in this playthrough, I'm pretty sure, and finish the map. Here we finally see our tactician's big brain strategy come to fruition. If we're going to be dealing with Durga, the human cruise missile, then just pop her back into the water. Durga the Invincible is no more. Right? Right. Anyway, one of her henchmen makes it sound like he wants to go off and be an artist or something and leaves, and finally we check out what Voland is up to. Jenna's big magical surge has weakened her significantly and now she's on the back foot. Until Mox Molyon warps in, tells Voland to piss off, summons a druid, Gwilgi, and Oh shit, 2 Necro Dragons. We're in for a rough patch. This was one of the maps I really wanted to talk about. I'm an idiot, so I didn't guess the plan, though I may have been too preoccupied with actually playing the chapter. Too few Fire Emblem games have you in a full retreat. DLATMOL isn't really an exception. This map is a retreat in part, but it is in fact advancing in the opposite direction through an enemy fortress. Gameplay and story combine excellently. The tactician is actually using their knowledge of the whole battlefield and environment to ensure victory. Sun Tzu would be proud. That and the split route around the mountain that still manages to converge at roughly the same time, this map is definitely one of the best in the game, I'd say the best so far, which is good because typically maps should be improving as the game goes on. This is absolutely a solid mid-game chapter with all the complexity that it can afford to bring. It's not perfect of course, I mentioned last chapter a headlong charge into siege weapons isn't ideal. Coupled with a status staff even with limited range, tactics can become a bit irrelevant in the face of RNG, beyond the obvious send strongest, send staff, reset until it works. Now I managed to get this chapter done without resetting this playthrough even though I probably should have, but by all means if you play this chapter for the first time, do not feel bad about resetting. As for Iron Manning, well, I can't help you there. Next up is one of the first multi-part chapters. Chapter 15 is going to take a while.